right, back again for another episode of Mr. Nailsin's Wednesday Comics, and all DC this time, but only 3 titles. uh, you know, it's what time permits for me at the moment. So, catching back up with Green Lantern, which so far so good, just being a basic superhero title of reestablishing him in this narrative where, the Green Lanterns are in exile in his sector and all that stuff, and it's some other story that I guess happened in previous iterations. Don't care because the narrative flow so far of this works out pretty good. So a confrontation between him and Sinestro is expected, of course. And, well, the cover pretty much tells you where it's going to go. So basically, it's a battle of Sinestro and Green Lantern. And so Sinestro wants to instill fear in the world so that it would supercharge his yellow ring. And so that's what he's doing, and he's setting off all these attacks and everything, and everyone's upset. And he's taking control of Carol Ferris's drone planes. So these are basically, fighter planes, but they're robot controlled or what have. Well, I mean, they're remote controlled. They're drones. So of course Hal has to come to the rescue, which he does, and ultimately, Sinestro almost sets up a scenario that's impossible for him to deal with because he has to be in 2 places at once. He creates 2 constructs. So wasn't really all that impossible, but it's just a matter of timing. And then he coordinates with Carol, and he's able to pull this off and save the world from nuclear disaster and all this sort of thing. And so Sinestro's plan fails, but at the end of it, he had a contingency plan of that should Hal defeat him. Instead of fear, he went with the emotion rage, which of course leads to the Red Lanterns. And so if he couldn't have the yellow ring, he'll go with the red one. So I guess we'll be seeing Sinestro in a red uniform soon. The thing of it is, though, I'm guessing he's like, yes, he was thinking of this as a contingency because in order for it to work, he has to genuinely be, furious and upset about this. And he, but had it gone the other way, and Hal fails, and there's devastation all over the planet. Everyone's terrified, and his ring is recharged, and then he can take off. He wants to go back to his home planet to deal with problems there. And then that's what he would have done. But it's like on the outset, it's like the ending comes, well, you filled me with rage. And this charges a red ring power, through the spectrum. And it's like, well, it's like so this has to have been a contingency, or it's just like, like you wanted Hal Jordan to come in and succeed, then you would be thrilled that it worked, except that you wouldn't be enraged. So my guess is he was going for both. He says, if I fail, I'll be so angry that I'll have the energy necessary to ignite the rage ring. But if I succeed, then, I'll have my old yellow ring, and all that. So, and it's a fine superhero tale. It works. And so, again, still with Green Lantern so far, so good. And I'm actually enjoying this more than, this is Jerry Adams writing this, than the Flash comics he did, which were okay, but Flash suffers from the same thing that kind of Superman does. It's crowded with so many other characters. There's a Flash family, there's a Super family, and then Batman's got all kinds of problems. Here, it's just Green Lantern. John Stewart spun off into his own title. I'll have to check that out later. But the simplification of it works to its advantage here. There's a backup tale about this character is supposed to be Sinestro's son. Whether he is or not, I'm not sure. But it's fine. But the main story was sealed the deal here. So all around, pretty good issue. So, of course, once again, World's Finest comes in and delivers easily of the mainstream the best superhero title available, going now. And pretty much the same in here, exploring the Kingdom Come world, or revisiting it, and things are a bit different. So, of course, you get a fight between two Supermen and all of that. And then even though he's not as old as he was in Kingdom Come, he's still up there in age. And with, the arthritis coming on and all the injuries he has to have suffered, which is going to age him faster, he needs the RoboCop suit. So, of course, there's a confrontation between the two Batmen. And ultimately, yeah. So Gog was this character that they did this in the new 52. I mean, the pre-52, New 52 universe. And I kind of wish they had stayed with it, where they had gotten the actual Justice Society back together again. Power Girl knew who she was and stuff like that. And I wish they would have just put them back on Earth too. And I keep whining about it, but I think that would have been better. But Magog was being introduced as if they were going to go and give him an origin story. And then here, Gog was always meant to be the progenitor of what created Magog into the character he was in Kingdom Come. And this is another attempt at it. Obviously, it's quite different. But here, Gog has apparently come to the world of Kingdom Come before it was Kingdom Come, and become their god. So, a bit of a shocker. Oh, no. So, Boy Thunder, now Thunder Man, knows what's really up, but, there they are. So, it's intriguing and interesting. And, of course, Dan Moore's art is excellent. And it's so far so good. It still holds up, and see how the payoff is ultimately, and see if this stab at a prequel or origin of Kingdom Come lands well than the previous ones. And of course, there was the Kingdom series they did too, but maybe this will land better than the others. And considering the run so far with World's Finest, odds are in its favor. So we'll see how that goes. Now, ordinarily, I would end with World's Finest because it's the best. But Mark Millar's works easily give it a run for its money. And a lot of things about World's Finest is say, well, it's one of the big two. So it's significant in that because, for the most part, overall, mainstream product is terrible. So you go to the indies, and Mark Millar delivers with his universe of characters. And here he brings them all together and shows you how to do an event series. And only in 5 issues. And it concludes in a spectacular fashion, even though it was kind of obvious how you would fix things. So, yeah, I don't know that I want to show the image because I recommend you go pick it up and enjoy that. The art, of course, is amazing. Everybody gets, and you get Nemesis finally gets his. And you get great artwork in scenes like this. So, and it helps to have read all the other stories. I haven't. There's quite a few of these I was familiar with, others not so much, and they all get their moment in this. And some of it, I'm sure you would appreciate it better if you had read it. But then again, this kind of works as quite the advertisement. Now I want to check out quite a few of these other titles I hadn't checked out yet. And the book includes a list to start here onward and to this point. So it was a fun romp, and all the characters got to have their moments. And it leads up into things to come. So all around, well done and significant. Even though they all looked lost, but they managed to come through. And again, yes, it was predictable as to how that would happen, but nevertheless, hey, them's the rules. And so, but the event after event after event from the mainstream, to the point that it's so saturated you don't even, I mean, it's like they should just, I mean, that's all they do is events. And they're stupid. They don't really go anywhere. Every now and then they'll almost hit something, and they always find a way to ruin it and whatnot. And yet here, within just 5 issues, he does this with his own cast of many different titles, overlapping and all of that, and coming for the common cause and everything. And it's well weaved, and it puts all the others to shame easily, which, again, not much of a challenge considering the current times, but it is reminiscent of the early attempts from Secret Wars and Crisis on down, and thinking of, hey, I've got to actually craft a story here, which he does. And again, it sets up potential impossibilities for further tales of these different titles that Miller has set up. So easily a big game for the best, and probably the best, certainly the best crossover series of the year. So there we go. Mark Miller for the win again. All right. Well, I'll see you next time. Next week for another episode of Mr. Nailsin's Wednesday Comics.